Hello and welcome to the Wealth Hub podcast. Christmas is around the corner and most of us are excited. It's the festive season and everybody's getting prepared to celebrate, unwind the year, enjoy with family. Most of you are planning to travel. Most of you have already traveled, a few days away from Christmas and the year is ending. 2024 is almost coming to an end. And yes, we love to feast, we love to drink, we love to catch up with family, but let the festive season not come with a lot of stress, especially financial stress. And today, I'm very excited that we have Mukasa Ronald from Enterprise Uganda, and we're going to be talking about the festive season. What happens in the festive season? How do we plan for it so that we don't have a lot of financial stress? And since he's a very good financial advisor, he's also going to give us a few tips on how to plan better for a sustainable, financially well-fit season. So it's not just about Christmas. It's a few days, it will be done. Then what? We don't want to have Januaries, the January issues where you spend it all in the festive season. And then when January comes, school fees is around the corner and we are all stressed out on where we're getting the money from. So thank you, Ronald, for joining us today at the Wealth Hub podcast.
Thank you, Sharon, for having me. I'm excited to be part of the conversation today.
Thank you. So we are around the corner of Christmas, and I love that we are all in the Christmas vibe, The year is coming to an end. We have a lot to celebrate. We are alive and living. What have been your experiences with our people in Uganda when it comes to Christmas?
I think, as you have mentioned, Christmas is a time of great excitement. It's a time of family. It's a time when we kind of forget how tough the year has been and come together to just celebrate.
Yes.
So it's absolutely an exciting time. Many people get time off work. People go and visit their parents. Some people come visit their parents up country or their family up country. So it's a time really when we come together and we celebrate this moment of having had a long year. For the Christians, it's an important time as they celebrate the birth of Christ. So really, it's an exciting time. And I think, as you have rightly mentioned, sometimes that excitement gets to your head and the 2 weeks seem like you are planning for the whole year. So
Very
that's
true.
where it becomes chaotic. But by and large, I think it's a time of joy, a time of family, a time of really encouraging and, just celebrating life with the people you love.
Yes. In my years of doing financial advisory, most of the people that I see or meet or relate with have always invested and saved for Christmas. That's the only time that will unite everyone's financial goal. I have to go to the village with a new car. I have to, I have to buy a new screen. I have to buy, people want to gift themselves, which is good. So in terms of financial goals, I think Christmas is that one goal that everybody shares. 31st, New Year's. It's on everyone's budget too. Even if you've not had a very huge meal of a 4-course meal in the entire year, that's the time you're going to have it all. And once the day is ending, then that's it. What would you say? What is your take when it comes to the planning? Is it just about the festive season, or it can be more than the festive season?
Yeah, I think for most of us, certainly it's a big expenditure item. Partly because of the things we want to do. We want to be able to travel. We want to be able to get new clothes for the family. We want to be able to do a few things which we haven't done with the people you love. So it becomes a big expenditure item. But I think it's also a time of accountability. I think there is a bit there. And for me, I believe that's what separates Christmas from New Year's. Seems like New Year's is more of an accountability day than Christmas. It's New Year's when it occurs to you that actually the year has ended.
Yes.
And have I done those things that I said I would do? So it's as much as time when we're excited as it is a time of reflecting to say what have I made of myself?
That's when it hits so hard to celebrate or to think twice and you're like, did I really achieve the goals I set out for myself? Some people lately don't even set goals at all. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think having a goal is one of the most important things in any sphere of life. You can imagine an organization that starts a financial year without a goal. It could be fascinating. You say, how many people will you employ? I'm not sure. What will you spend on? I'm not sure. How much are you going to make in sales? I'm not sure. So it's true that having the goal is important for the place you work for, but equally for yourself as an individual. And I think it is the clarity of that goal. Is it a goal which is achievable? Is it a goal that you can be able to, which is time bound? And really what Christmas reminds us is a time for the year has ended.
Yes.
So if you say I want to buy a plot of land this year.
Have you bought it?
And it is the 16th of December. It reminds you that actually, unless you're going to pull it off in the next 2 weeks, but ideally the plot hasn't come. So you need, having the goal is really giving you direction, because if you don't know where you are going, every road can get you there. So really you need to put out something clearly and say, this is what I want to do. And I totally agree with people who say, you know what, in this season, I'm setting goals of the next year. It's an important thing. You can debate whether they are achievable, whether they are realistic. But ideally, it is important to go through the process of saying, you know what, I have done this. Even things you have failed to do. I mean, you may have failed to buy the plot of land.
Yes.
But possibly this next year,
it's taken you a step forward.
Exactly.
Halfway, quarter way, almost their way, you know.
At least you're
somewhere.
know. Because if you don't put that pin in the ground somewhere in the future, you don't know what you are actually moving towards. So it's important to set those goals.
There's a trend. I think December is a time where banks make the most when it comes to loans. So people want to spend more than they are able to. To please, like you said, you've set a goal to buy a car, you haven't gotten it. The first thing you're going to think about is, let me go get that loan. You know, kujoga. You know, you go to the village and you just want to show off.
Let the people know.
You want the people to feel that you've arrived, you know. And this also now gets to us. You've gotten a loan to spend for the next two weeks, but it's going to constrain you for the next 3 years. What's your take on debt? Spending on wants, because debt is good for investments, but I want you to look at debt for entertainment.
I think all of us are usually high on optimism in this time of the year. We are optimistic, people are happy, people are full of joy. And sometimes it feels like the future is so bright. Whatever debt you take, you will be able to deal with it in the future. And I think you need to kind of pull back a bit, especially on consumption debt. I mean, if you wanted to do a trip to Dubai and it turns out you actually don't have the money to do the trip to Dubai, it may be as important to discuss, should I do it this year or I push it to next year, as it is to say I take that loan which has been offered to me of 10 times my salary to be able to pull it off. So it's important to make sure that you don't run into consumption debt, especially in this season where you are very optimistic, because people are generally happy. People are generous.
Excitement.
In December, So you need to know that, January is coming. I liked what you said. January. It's coming. But you don't want to kind of lock yourself into positions. But that doesn't at all mean you shouldn't have fun. You should actually enjoy yourself. And you will notice some of the things which bring us the greatest joy actually quite cheap. You just sitting down with your father and mother and siblings and them telling you stories of the old days can give you a kick. And really what you need to do is to have a meal to share that day. And it doesn't have to be done in a very spectacular place, but the joy of just sharing those moments with the people you love are actually the reason why you want to, what the celebration is about. So I think one of the important things is to separate that idea that having fun has to be expensive, and say, but how can I have fun within my means?
With a budget.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people will totally respect it. If you are unable to travel, can you do something in your home? If you are able to travel, should you travel in that grand way? Because the truth is, the village will receive you. Whether you come with the car, whether you don't, the village will receive you. It is not going to reject you. You may think it's rejected. You know, sometimes people look at you and you believe that I think they are judging me. But the truth is that they don't even notice.
They don't even care.
And nothing is more annoying than buying a big car and
nobody congratulates.
It is actually very sad. So you might actually remind people that, did you notice the big car which I bought? But I think you need at the heart of this whole conversation is what is possible for you. And some people find themselves at a time like this, you are really against the wall. You are heavily indebted. It's been a tough year. Some people lost work during the year. And during this period, it's a time to reflect, say, how do I start the next year strong? And I think one of the best ways to start the next year strong is not to dig a deeper pit by getting deeper into debt.
It's making the deeper pit a bit more shallow towards closing it out.
Or getting a plan to be able to get out of the pit and not to just keep digging it.
Keep digging it. Because the more debt you take, it's like you're just making the hole deeper and deeper.
Exactly. And specifically consumption debt. With the moment you take debt where you are uncertain of who is going to pay. Because some people take debt when they are sure who is going to pay. If it's a business, it will take on debt, but it knows it will invest in an item and the customers will be able to pay and they will pay the debt. But when you take debt as an individual for a trip to the village, the chances are very high that you are the one going to pay it and it will come back. So you may need to consciously say, and sometimes I think we even have to have honest conversations as families. And sometimes you need to tell your family that, you know what, this year, I can't move. I can't move.
Yeah.
And the truth is that you may think your parents won't understand, your siblings won't understand, but they will.
They will.
Because they live in this same country. They know the difficulties people are going through. So sometimes you call home and you say, you know what, mommy, I can't come home, but I've sent you 100,000 shillings for Christmas. But myself, I can't be able to travel. And I think your family will respect that. I feel like a lot of the pressure is from these people who expected you to be able to make it and you didn't. So you need to communicate. And possibly this is a good conversation to have even as you sit around as a family during this Christmas season. And you say, you know what, how are things? Honestly, how are you? Because, you know, sometimes you put on a face and things look like you are normal and you are okay.
Yes.
But sometimes when you sit and you tell your brother that you know what, this year I swallowed a mortgage. And it is it's weighing heavily on me. And those conversations, say you are going through that, I'm also going through this. I feel like those are more important conversations
than showing off.
Than trying to put a picture that things are okay, yet they actually are not.
They're not. And I think that's a challenge that most of us face, especially when you're going through a lot financially, but you still have to show up for others. So sometimes it's good to say, you know what? You're going to host this Christmas. I'm not able to host it. Kindly host. Because you have siblings. You don't have to always weigh that heavy load alone. And let another person give the mantle, pass the mantle to somebody else. And I'm sure they will find a way of hosting, which is also good. And there you say now it's going to be rotational.
Exactly.
So that it's not always weighing on you all the time.
Yeah, and some of us find ourselves in a position where you have taken that position in the family. You are the one. You are the Kamalabiona. You solve all problems.
All the problems.
So you take that position. And it's a position which you enjoy. Everyone takes you seriously. You might be a young man, but people call you big names. Sevo, HT. But the point is that you need to be honest with yourself. And sometimes when you have taken that position of solving all the family's problems, but the truth is that the numbers are not high. You are heavily indebted, you are not fulfilling your own commitments, and you need to come out clearly to your family and say, you know what, friends, I can't do this. And it's okay for Christmas to have no one hosting. And you say, you know what, friends, let this one pass.
Yes, let's plan better for the next one.
Exactly. Or we will host only odd Christmases. Odd years we will host Christmas. Even years we don't. But the point is that you need to get to that point where you say, you know what, this is what we are doing honestly. This is what the truth is. And even have the peace. Because sometimes you're even enjoying that Christmas meal, but you're worried. You're even worried about your own landlord because you haven't paid him for 3 months. And he sees you having a big party in your compound. The landlord gets confused. He says, so you're having a big party and...
you haven't paid my rent. You're enjoying Christmas.
What
are you prioritizing?
Yes. How do you prioritize? And people see things entering. Chicken enters, what enters. The landlord may struggle to understand when you say the economy is tight because you didn't even show that it was during Christmas. So instead of having that big party, during in that property. You say, you know what, friends, I'll have something small. I'll make a small deposit to my landlord and say, you know what, I've fulfilled that commitment. And that is you being honest, because a lot of personal finance is really being honest with yourself and saying, this is what I am. And, sometimes no one knows. For us, when we look at you, we think you should.
Okay.
I mean, even your siblings, they see you are driving a car, they see your children are going to school. They are not, they get a bit surprised when you say you are not going to host Christmas.
Yes.
But you need to sit down honestly with them and tell them, this is where we're at, this is what is possible.
So communication is very important.
Exactly.
And also setting those financial goals. If things have not worked out this Christmas, please don't despair. Don't feel like life is ending. Ronald is teaching us that you need to be open-minded, communicate, plan. The world doesn't end with Christmas. The world still continues, but let's not forget to enjoy. But you can still enjoy on a budget. That's what I'm learning today. Enjoy on a budget. If you're the type that is popping champagne, if there's no money, get your Fanta or Coca-Cola or water, sit and enjoy the year, enjoy with your family, and then plan better. You don't always have to celebrate. If times are hard, plan better next time, and always pray and hope that God will help and support you with your family to celebrate the next Christmas better.
Yeah.
What are your last thoughts for Christmas? Do you have any messages for our viewers and listeners that are tuned in?
Yeah, certainly to wish our viewers a Merry Christmas. Enjoy the Christmas season. It's a time of family, a time of joy, a time of accountability to say, how has the year been? And as the new year starts, you say, you know what hasn't happened this year? Let me roll it over to the next year and be able to get it done. And sometimes you don't need to be very hard on yourself. Sometimes you look at your goals and you had 20 of them, you have achieved 1.5, and it can be very, you can be hard. But you know what? Cut yourself some slack and say, you know what? Last year didn't work, but let me push through. And make the right decisions. A lot of the most exciting things in life are actually free. And enjoy that time with your family. Give your parents a hug. And just enjoy what you can with the means which you have.
Yes. Thank you, Ronald, for being here today. And for you, our viewers, we love you so much. We'd love to wish you a Merry, Merry Christmas. Enjoy with your family. Thank you so much for subscribing to our channels. We'd love to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and see you on the next episode.